Mamma mia, let you go, let you go. Okay. Copyright आ जाएगी simple क्योंकि मैंने इतना कर दिया.
So then I'm going to jump to, and it's not much of a jump, to June 26, 2013. There was a plane ride to Russia with Johnny. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Tell the jury about that particular event.
Oh,
Well, that was the...
do you think? I don't know. We'll see. I have a theory in my mind. I don't know if they're going there or not.
first and last time I ever decided it would be a decent idea to do drugs with Johnny.
Oh, first and last time. Bro, this is like, she's so sus. See, here's the thing. हर चीज को बोलने से पहले she thinks of how she can paint herself as this great nice person and distance him from herself and painting him as this like dark soul of तुम्हारा just fucking most evil shit on the planet. And here's the thing. जब हम स्टोरीज बताते हैं ना जिसमें अगर हमारा भी इन्वॉल्वमेंट है और सबसे ऑनेस्ट स्टोरीज वो होती हैं जो कि स्टोरीज that are told honestly are the honest stories, which means कि it is left on the interpretation of the person, and in the storytelling you leave जहाँ पे तुम्हारा इन्वॉल्वमेंट जो था जिस नेचर का, you leave it at that because it happened a long time ago and you were participant of a few things और जो भी तुमने किया you did that and you own it. यहाँ पे क्या है, ओनरशिप या स्टोरी टेलिंग से पहले ही डिस्क्लेमर आ गया और क्लेवरली अपने आप को एक अच्छा एंजल बता दिया कि मैं तो फंसा हुआ था इस चीज में. इट वाज द लास्ट एंड द फर्स्ट टाइम ये हुआ, यू नो मैन. सी दिस इज जस्ट, किसी भी इंसान की तुम स्टोरियां सुनते हो, मैं यहाँ पे यू नो लोगों की बात कर रहा हूँ, लाइक एनी पर्सन फ्रॉम जो रोगन टू एनी नंबर ऑफ पीपल. द ट्रूथ इज इन द स्टोरी. द ट्रूथ इज नॉट दिस.
I did MDMA with him on the plane, which was as stupid as it may sound. I just had never, I was very against, obviously the cocaine had been a problem. I was very much against him using cocaine. I was against the drinking, supportive of the sobriety, but I'm 26 maybe, ish. And I wanted, I had never heard of anyone making MDMA like what I had done MDMA before. I thought it's a lovey drug. It's it's like...
She said this was the first and last time in the beginning.
I never knew anyone to get violent on it. And, I thought, well, this is a relatively contained environment. Maybe this will be different. Maybe I can be a good cop and be part of the, I don't have to be the lesbian counselor all the time, as you would say. I can maybe be the fun girlfriend. And I learned the hard way that was not happening.
So what happened?
Well, we took MDMA. I took a capsule. It's like a powder in a capsule. I took a capsule and Johnny took several. I didn't count, but it's very different when you see someone take one versus a handful of something. But nothing seemed to set any alarm bells off, and things were going fine until the flight attendant got involved. The flight attendant came by, was engaging with us. I don't think that they're really, it felt like it was before the effects of the drug took over. So it was relatively quick, soon after we first took our dose, if you can say. And the flight attendant, Johnny offered her some, she of course said no. And then after some back and forth between them, Johnny convinced her that it would be fine. So she acquiesced and took MDMA with us. And within, a few minutes go by, and the same thing happened that happened on the mushrooms at Hicksville with the woman, Kelly Sue, who I've told you about. Flight attendant got friendly with me, but just friendly, just like MDMA friendly, was kind of, I'm a woman, he's a man, so she was naturally, I think, more comfortable with me physically. She kind of leaned into me and kind of sat on the arm of the chair I was sitting in. I mean, after all, she's on drugs, and Johnny grabs her hand and tells her not to touch me, and she kind of reacts in a way like she's defending herself and was trying to clarify, and he grabbed her by the wrist and slammed it down on the table and told her he could break her wrist. And I remember thinking, I've heard this before. And that was a pattern that would repeat itself a few times. These things would happen in these kind of cycles where there would be a certain element that would get filtered for a while, whether it's an accusation or a gesture, and that would be the thing that he looped on. I called it loops. And he grabs her wrist and he tells her he could break her wrist. She cries instantly, denies it, is so apologetic. Eventually he lets go. She goes to the front of the plane where the flight attendant, normally hangs out, and the doors close, and I don't see her much of that whole flight. We land in Russia, and I don't really remember, I don't recall any violence on the plane between Johnny and I, but I remember feeling this tension because I was wondering when it was gonna aim at me, because he had this particular thing about, at the time I understood he had a particular thing, a sensitivity about me and women, because I had a female partner. So I was feeling nervous, anxious, and I remember we had a very quiet ride, at least I didn't say anything, to the ride to the hotel. And almost as soon as we get into the hotel room, Johnny's accusing me of effectively having engaged that, caused that. I, of course, deny it, point out what I thought was obvious, that, we'd given her drugs, it's wasn't an affair, wasn't, and I'm trying to argue and defend myself at the same time. And at one point, Johnny just shoves me, just shoves me.
See, in her ways of saying, she wants to make sure that and it's her intent of telling the story is more toward that like it's again, मेरे को बार बार पता है वो performative वो दिखता है, instead of a person recalling what happened.
Shoves me hard. I fall back onto this glass table. I catch myself on the table. I don't know how some furniture got knocked around. There was I'm trying to stand up for myself. I'm trying to stand up, literally. I'm not, at this point, I don't even try to hit back or try to run. I'm in this hotel room trying to do my best to fight mostly the verbal accusations, but also I try to stay on my feet, At some point, Johnny whacks me in the face, and I don't remember feeling pain or awareness of my nose or anything. I don't remember thinking that. I remember kind of crying and feeling, I went into the bathroom and I wanted him to have I just remember wanting him to realize what had happened. I wanted him to kind of snap out of it. I wanted him to care. I wanted him to realize what was going on, because a big part of this, I felt like he wasn't aware. There was this sense that he didn't know what was going on.
But it's so different from, just think of both their stories, and she didn't even deny tumhara, the poop story, for example. Think of a person who takes a shit in your bed. I've dated a lot of people. I'm going to be very honest. I've dated people who I would say were slightly, aggressive. Let's just call it. Not even aggressive. Very suspicious. Very I don't want to use the word, something that, but paranoid, very proactive, very suspicious, like वैसे, and they're pretty actionable about it. Let's just say that, ठीक है? But a person I don't know, I cannot comprehend a person who would literally squat and take a shit on somebody's bed because they want to say big fuck you to them. Now, when I hear this story, there is this, like I talk again. मैंने यहाँ पे आपको बता रखा है मैंने कई बार कि I've done lot of calls. I've been in long-term phone call helping relationships with victims of जिनके घर में मार पिटाई हो रही है. Women की बात कर रहा हूँ. And the story she's saying, I've talked to a lot of those women. Not even once have I actually heard that they could fight back. And if they could fight back, there is this sense of submissiveness, there is a sense of self-defeat, there is this sense of spirit में ताकत ही नहीं है कि आपको उनको बाहर से बाल्टियां ला के भरना पड़ता है उनके अंदर कि तुम निकल सकते हो, निकलो. They are so trapped. And again, I've talked to men. Same thing, by the way. Wow. It's the same. Even men जिनके साथ मैं नहीं कहूँगा उस इंटेंसिटी में डोमेस्टिक अब्यूज भी है, बट इमोशनल अब्यूज उस लेवल पे है, और डोमेस्टिक भी है, डोमेस्टिक एंड इंटीमेट पर्सन, IPV कह लो, आई एम सॉरी. एंड सेम उनके अंदर भी था, बाल्टी ला के भरना पड़ रहा है. देयर इज दिस सेल्फ डिफीट, देयर इज दिस सेंस ऑफ भयंकर लेवल पे, क्योंकि सामने वाला इंसान जैसे ये जो बातें बता रही है ना, सेल्फ एस्टीम खत्म हो चुकी होती है. आई एम गोना बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट विद यू, आई एम रियली थिंकिंग अबाउट इट एंड प्रोसेसिंग. ये जितनी भी सिचुएशन होती हैं ऐसी, इंसान की सेल्फ एस्टीम सामने वाला मार चुका होता है, तभी तुम रुके हुए उस रिलेशनशिप में, क्योंकि तुम्हारे अंदर वो दम, वो सेल्फ और या फिर सेंस ऑफ सेल्फ रह ही नहीं गया है. दैट सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट जिसकी वजह से आए, प्राइड आए, ये ऑटोनॉमी आए. तुम बस हो और तुम्हें लग रहा है कि ये बदल नहीं सकता. एंड तुम फिर वही बात है ना कि देन यू सी दिस अदर साइड, जहां पे मैं उनकी चीजें बात कर रहा हूं जो कि फैक्ट्स हैं, जितनी भी ऑडियो रिकॉर्डिंग्स हैं जहां पे ये पता नहीं क्या क्या चीख रही है, साफ साफ बोल रही है कि मैंने पीटा तुम्हें, अरे तुम बेबी क्यों हो, अरे तुम चीजें बी अ मैन एंड टेक इट. अगेन कन्फैबुलेशन, ह्यूमिलिएशन, बेरेट करना सामने वाले को, अब्यूज करना, भाई हमने इससे सुना है. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. आई डोंट सी हर जो ये स्टोरियां सुना रही है, एंड द पर्सन शी इज सेइंग दैट इन स्टोरीज में है, आई कैन नॉट पुट दीज टू टुगेदर एट ऑल. एंड आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट जॉनी डेप्स, तुम्हारे ऑल द स्टोरीज जहां पे उसने लात मारी, दरवाजे में मुंह पड़ा, ये दरवाजे 5 से, अरे एक्चुअली तो वहां पे है. This was an audio recording again, so okay, I can talk about that. The story जहाँ पे he's saying like 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms या 5 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms, and he's like कि मैं भाग रहा था, and she's like तुम solution से नहीं भाग सकते, and he's like भैया तुम solution वो है जहाँ पे तुम पीट रही हो. I'm just trying to remove myself from the solution. That is also an audio tape. Actually मैंने उसमें react भी कर रखा है, exists. So भाई जो इनकी ऑडियो कॉन्वर्सेशन में उसमें क्लियरली दिख रहा है, ये जो कह रही है कि मैं रूम में चली गई, मैं बाथरूम चली गई, वो बोल रहा है मैं भाग रहा हूँ रूम 5 बेडरूम भागा मैं, 5 से 3 बाथरूम में घुसा हूँ मैं, और ये कह रही है like, and he in that very thing he says you threw a vase at me. So this is the big problem I guess in Loki's story में, जहाँ पे. So having said that, I'm not saying that Johnny probably wouldn't have gotten jealous because उस flight attendant ने slightly इसके साथ friendly हुई होगी. Again, I think those things are true.
Again, I don't know how much of the drugs or alcohol is a part of this, but
oh my God, they keep saying drugs and alcohol, drugs and alcohol, drugs and alcohol. It's very.
I remember crying. I came out at some point because I don't hear him in that room. I remember we had been arguing in the main room, but I went out to the hallway, which is where I presume he walked out, and his bodyguard, Jerry Judge, was in the hall. And I don't recall seeing Johnny in the hallway, but I remember seeing Jerry Judge, who gestured to my nose.
Objection, hearsay.
She's just saying gesture. He hasn't said anything yet.
All right, gesture's fine. I'll overrule the objection.
He gestures to my nose and holds out his handkerchief, like a cloth handkerchief. And I instantly just felt really embarrassed. I felt ashamed. I don't know how else to describe it. I just felt like just really embarrassing. And I went inside the room.
What, if any, injury did you have?
I had a little blood coming out of my nose. I didn't know it. I didn't feel it at the time until Jerry let me know.
Okay.
And I went inside the hotel room, and as embarrassing as it is, I remember just wanting Johnny to say sorry. I wanted him to realize it. It's so stupid, but like the emotional part, I just wanted him to acknowledge that this was, that he could hurt me, and I wanted it to be okay. I didn't want him to think I was interested in this flight attendant. I didn't want him to think that I would capable of cheating on him. I was in love with him. I just wanted things to be okay.
Let's take you to July 9, 2013. Did there come a time that you went for a ride you went to the Bahamas and went on a ride, the yacht with Johnny and his kids?
Well, it's less like we flew out to the Bahamas to his island. He was selling the yacht to J.K. Rowling, and he wanted to kind of have a goodbye trip on the yacht. So it was docked off the island, and I went with him and his kids, who I had quickly developed a bond with and loved. And we brought a friend along with us, I think, to kind of help. And yeah.
Okay. Tell the jury what happened on that trip.
Johnny was upset that he had to sell the boat. And he was off the wagon again, but he didn't want to tell his kids, so he was hiding it from them. He was putting it in coffee cups and drinking, and the behavior just kind of like, he was upset, he was emotional, and he just, that's how he dealt with it, just drink. But there's just no off button with Johnny. So he just kept drinking, and the behavior kept getting more obviously drunk. And Lily Rose, his daughter at the time, was young, just like maybe 14. And she started to get panicky and started to ask me questions about his drinking.
Objection, hearsay.
Without saying what Lily Rose was saying, please continue on.
Sustain the objection.
Thank you.
So she was asking me questions about the drinking. And was very upset.
Sustain the objection.
Yeah, you can't say what Lily Rose said.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you can tell gestures.
Sorry.
You can tell, and you can say what you and Mr. Depp said. Okay.
Sorry. So she was upset, and Johnny we were with the kids, and he kind of threw himself off the boat in a half playful way, like a dead fish kind of way. I don't know how to describe it, almost like a belly flop. But we were on a skip, like a smaller boat parked next to the yacht, and he's jumping. Well, he jumped off the front of it, but kind of in a chest forward way. Like it looked a little scary, like not something somebody would do if they're completely okay. It was started off all of us kind of taking turns jumping off the edge of the yacht into the water, and then he at one point kind of throws himself over, and it looked a little scary, the way his body fell into the water. And Lily Rose started to cry and expressed to me that she
Objection,
was
hearsay.
upset.
As sustained.
You can't say what she said. You can tell expressions or observations, but you can't say what Lily Rose said.
So
Okay.
Lily Rose is crying, and then the crying becomes like a panic, like almost like a panic attack, like rapid breathing, crying, lots of questions. and I'm holding her, kind of comforting her, and Johnny comes in, and within a few seconds, I realized that he, kind of shifted his attention on me, and then he seemed very angry. He asked Lily Rose to leave. Lily Rose leaves, looks at me, leaves, crying, and Johnny, I don't remember the words he used, but starts accusing me of kind of like telling on him and calling him, a drunk in front of his kids. I hadn't done that. I was actually trying to protect Johnny. It didn't feel like my place at all to share that with his daughter or anyone at the time, other than adults who might help with it, but not his kids. So I was trying to tell him I was just trying to comfort her. I was trying to protect you. He basically was accusing me of doing this thing and of making them aware of his that he was drinking again. And he slams me up against the side wall of the bedroom of the we were in the bedroom this whole time, but up against the wall of the cabin, and slams me up by my neck and holds me there for a second and tells me that he could fucking kill me. And that was an embarrassment. I was embarrassing. It was an embarrassment. This whole thing was a joke. It was all embarrassment. I made him feel sick. And I'll never forget. I'm very, very, very much in love with this whole family now. And he's saying I'm embarrassing to him. And that somehow stuck in me more than the I could fucking kill you. It just sounded like hyperbole. It sounded like something he was just saying, but the names that he was calling me, well, kind of just pushing me up against the wall by my neck, it hurt my feelings. It hurt.
There's this thing that she's doing where she's always saying that she was abused, but the abuse was less and her attention was somewhere else. The first story, it was like my attention was that the carpet was dirty, and that's where I was focusing on. And right now it's like it's the words that mattered. I didn't even focus on abuse. I don't know.
When I saw Lily Rose again, we get, I won't say what she told me, but the next thing we do is we call for a helicopter to come and take us off of the boat or off of the island. So we leave the boat, go to the landing of a part of the island, or maybe it was a different island we had to get to leave, and we take off. I'm holding Lily Rose literally holding her under my arm while she's crying, and we're lifting off. And Jack ended up not coming with us at the last minute. He stayed behind. And we were taking off, and I remember being really torn about leaving. I felt bad about leaving, even though that had happened. I still felt awful leaving. I felt awful leaving him. I also felt like I had done something wrong. He was mad at me. I wasn't sure, what I had done, but I remember not.
In all her stories, you see this, she's never done anything wrong, which is also a very scary sign. Well, actually, she did admit that she did do drugs, but the first and last time, and then she said that she had done it before, and then, I don't know. What this story seemed to me at least was like कि a person जिसका sense of humor बहुत dark है और weird है. I can so relate to this. It's actually a fear of mine. Is that जितना भी मेरे दोस्तों के साथ sense of humor है, to make them laugh, we do very stupid, crazy things. एंड काफ़ी उसमें से होती हैं जो कि it may look slightly weird to a lot of people, it may look slightly even extreme, you know, because we are, I don't know, probably uh, bold, so we may do stupid things. And I totally understand, like if you're standing at the edge and everybody's jumping, what she's saying, people were jumping and he just felt like, oh doom. That's what she said. He fell, or he basically did a dive in a very comically, his intention was ki, oh look, I might do something weird to make you laugh. It didn't land. The joke did not land. As far as this story, she's जो भी सुना रही है उसके हिसाब से, the story did not land, and it's understandable. Sometimes jokes don't land, and I have to, you know, even with I have to think before every joke now. Even though my child is like a baby, but you know, throughout my life, that I'm not scaring her. Yeah, you know, my humor is not too weird that it goes tumhara above the head. And I understand probably a lot of his humor. He's a weirdo. Johnny Depp has always been a weirdo. To me, it makes perfect sense that he would do that. Now to say ki she had a panic attack, bloop, he pretended like, oh, I'm like, he has a dark humor, oh, I'm dead, and then like a 14-15-year-old girl could not understand that. And then she just had like straight from वहाँ से तुम यहाँ पे चले जा रहे हो. I don't know. I don't know. To me, this sounds like different parts of things that happened wrapped into one story. जहाँ पे he did something that caused his family yada yada yada, and then he blamed her, and then he again तुम्हारा जो भी इसने तुम bedroom में मार पटाई वाली story, and then they left. To me, sounds like there's many more things happened there. Because, you know, who knows? But I don't think it's as simple as, you know, बस ये हुआ फिर सब कुछ और मैं protect, I don't know.
Not being, you know, I'm getting all these text messages from him calling me all these names, and it barely coherent, barely. And I'm holding his daughter crying.
And let me just stop you for a moment. Michelle, can you pull up Defendant's Exhibit 180?
Do you believe that's already in
It is already into evidence, Your Honor, so if we may publish it to the jury. And Amber, I'm going to ask you to take a look at 180. And this is text messages from Mr. Depp to you. Do you recall these?
Yes, I do.
And are these the text messages?
Yes, that's what he was sending me while I was taking care of his daughter.
That's it? So she's calling him. Yeah, this sounds like a person who's done, you know? And he's try to understand. She's saying that this is this person who was getting at her. So in this particular case, he's supposed to be the person who's calling her incessantly and pestering her and texting her. जो होता है ना तुम्हारा abusive psycho boyfriend, जो phone नहीं बंद होता, बस मैसेज आते रहते हैं, कॉल आते रहते हैं. It seems like he's just responding like, देखो, एक बात मैं तुम्हें यहाँ पे बताता हूँ. ये जो text है ना, this is something that is completely in between these two people. Probably the way they talked, probably इन लोग के बीच में कुछ personal ऐसा कुछ था. To us, this may seem like, what? Who types like that? Which is precisely why you should understand this is meant for not you. It's not meant for people to understand. It's meant for this person because he knows this is something जो भी इनका scene चलता होगा उसमें she will understand. So whatever this is going on, it's between them. But you know यहाँ पे it's used as ki, oh, this is how he la la la. Nah, you can see there's a story to it, in the sense ki there is a serialization ki something comes before this as well, not in text, in their lives. It's not out of nowhere he's writing this.
Yes, that's what he was sending me while I was taking care of his daughter.
The old vintage motherfucker you went for. See, you went for. यानी कि they've had something around this जो बहुत पहले उन्होंने बात करी होगी, and she probably liked it, probably liked something like जो भी अभी कर रहा है, something like this. So he's reminding her, you know, okay, I can go all night, DJ, maxi pad, the old vintage motherfucker you went for, you know, and he's pissed off. So there you go. Do not expect anything from me. Name calling, a lot of these things, bro. Relationship fights, you know. That's it.
Your Honor, I'm about to go into another event.
Okay. Okay. Jesus. Precisely what I said. She takes zero responsibility, right? Damn. I don't know. I think तुम्हारी जितनी भी stories हैं, there are obviously, you know, a lot of truth to them, but she takes a story and she then completely wraps it around, you know, how it was just her in the receiving end, or on the receiving end, I'm sorry, of this aggressiveness. And जहाँ तक, again, it just does not fit या it does not have any consistency. But तुम्हारे जो ऑडियो रिकॉर्डिंग्स इनकी लीक हुई हैं, जिसमें आई डोंट नो हु दैट पर्सन इज देन, वेयर वाज दैट पर्सन, क्या वो एंड के सडनली 2 महीने बाद एकदम से निकल आया एक पर्सन जो कि क्लियरली कह रहा है कि चीख रहा है, चिल्ला रहा है, वॉइस कर रहा है, और वो इंसान जॉनी डेप इज लाइक कि भैया मैं भाग रहा हूँ. ये ऑडियो रिकॉर्डिंग से बात है इन दोनों की, जहाँ पे कह रही है भैया तुम बस भागते हो, भगौड़े हो, तुम पुसी हो, मर्द नहीं हो तुम. एंड वो कह रहा भैया मैं तुम मुझे मारती हो, चीजें फेंकती हो मेरे पे, मेरे खून निकल रहा है चीजों से. तो वो सब कहाँ है? दिस इज इनसेन मैन.